in solar industry in North America. Solar is, as part of a renewable energy, is very important industry. It is at the forefront of our fight against global warming, climate change. Is really the key for us to help us to move the society off fossil fuel and to have a sustainable development moving forward without sacrificing our way of life. So, a market at a glance. There's a rapid growth in solar for solar in North America, mainly is we have seen the growth in solar installations, mostly driven by favorable policies and decline in cost. And also, there's a diverse solar technologies available to us. A range of solar technology include photovoltaics, which is Wang, the one we're talking about, and the concentrated solar power. Those are the most power methods being developed to meet the energy needs. And obviously, it comes with economic and environmental benefits. And it is helping us to reduce to fight climate change, but at the same time, it can generate huge amount of wealth and jobs opportunities, and also give real benefits to consumers, homeowners. Those are the main benefits of the solar industry. So renewable energy markets right now, as of 2023, the total size of renewable energy market in North America is about $500 billion, and the total solar generations, energy generations, is around 120 gigawatts, and so just put in the perspective, the average home, Massachusetts single-family home, consume about 9,000 kilowatt hour of energy per year. That's their annual consumptions. And so that's about, as far as the growth rate, is about 12% for the last almost 10 years. 120 gigawatts sounds a lot, but reality is that maybe accounts around 18% of the total power generations in North America. Put in perspective, right now China just surpassed 50% of total power generations come from renewable energy. So right now, like in the U.S., it's maybe 12 to 18%. Depends on like what the report you're looking at it. And so there's still a long way to go. Some states are far ahead. Surprisingly, Texas is one of the leading states because in conception, you think a red state will go for fossil fuel, and the blue state will go for renewable energy. But actually, Texas is really at the forefront of this. Texas almost have 45% of their energy come from renewable energies, so that's where, as far as the market size goes right now. And so there's two main drivers, obviously, for the solar market. One is the regulatory drivers from federal and states. Again, I'm using Massachusetts as an example. So in Mass, we have this thing called the Renewable Portfolio Standards. So that essentially requires utility company, whether it's EverSource or National Grid, depends on where you live, to get a certain percentage of their energy from clean renewable sources. The goal, actually the mandate is utility companies have to get 50% of their energy from clean sources by year 2030. So that's about 5 years away. And by 2050s, it's going to be 100%. So the goal is by 2050, 100% of energy consumed in Massachusetts will come from renewable sources. Another thing is this concept of the net metering. And that's really the mechanism working behind the whole residential solar or commercial solar. It essentially is, we know, for example, residential solar, like we see solar panel on the roof of homes. So essentially, people generating energy at their home, but you rarely generate just exact amount of energy as you use. You either generate more or generate less at any given time. So the whole concept of net metering is when you generate excess amount of energy than your usage, you send all this excess energy back to the grid. And utility company will send those energies elsewhere. But they will take those excess energy, they will mark those energy as a credit to your account. So when you generate less or none, for example at night, you draw power back from the grid. And so instead of charging you, they just deduct your credit. So that's the whole concept of net metering. That's why we're able to do this. And also we see another trend in the policy is a shift from demand side to the supply side, which means over the last 15 years, federal government and state government are giving out tax credits, putting out mandates, different policies to encourage business and resident and consumer to go solar. But now, a lot of those policies are going away. A lot of those tax credits are going away. Instead, they're giving those tax credits, those policy towards manufacturing. So that's like instead of encouraging people to go solar, they just want to make sure more and more those solar technologies, those equipments, panels, inverters, all those things are manufactured in North America. And that's also we see why the Biden administration just increased the tariff for China-made solar panel from 30% to 50%. And this is all part of that policy that encourage local productions because it is really such an important sector for a nation's economy moving forward. So that is the regulatory drivers, and there is also commercial drivers. Commercial driver is mostly one is by cost productions, especially the panels equipment from China over the last 10 years has really significantly reduced the cost of solar equipment, and that really brings down the cost. So at the same time, with a great upgrade with net metering, it also start generating real sustained economic benefit or saving to consumers, to homeowners. So those factors push the more consumers going solar. So those yeah. So of course, adoption, widespread adoption has driven the economical scale, further reducing the cost. Question about renewable energy technology choices, solar versus wind. Those are the two main ones, along with, we're talking about renewable energy. We're not there's also the concept of clean energy. Clean energy is, if you look at the hydro powers, that's also clean energy, but it's not necessarily renewable. So one is like a solar, that's basically convert sunlight to directly to the electricities. and another one is wind. Right now, like primarily in the U.S., about over 90% of renewable energy are come from solar, not from wind. There's a lot of problem with like large. Like first of all, you can't really do residential wind farm. You just don't have the space. It's also there's a lot of regulatory problem with building large wind farm. Massachusetts tried to launch one of the largest offshore wind farm just off the coast of Cape Cod. And so they've been trying to do that for the last 10 years and finally just gave up. Just because there's so many environmental groups go against it. It's kind of oxymoron. Like, environmental group go against have a wind farm. And also just having all the regulatory approval in places. That just took a really long time to get those things approved. And finally, all the investors in the wind farm just decided to give it up. Most of them are actually European energy companies. And that's why like, solar is the choice of a clean energy for most states. As far as current state of solar technology, solar technology hasn't really changed, improved that much over the last decade. I'm talking about the conversion, the efficiency of converting photons to electricities. That hasn't really improved that much over the course decades. So right now it's about 26 to 27% for most photovoltaic technologies. So which means they convert 20 to 27% of sunlight or photon to electricities. But what has improved on is it's become the panel become lighter, and it has a smaller profile, and also it's smarter looking. Those are the areas, and they become more durable. And before solar panel may have a lifetime of like 10, 15 years. Now it's minimum 25 to 30 years. So also the panel recycling technology has improved quite a lot. Now we can probably recycle about up to 96, 98% of a panel when it became obsolete. So that also helped reduce some of the side effects of solar technology. So like when we look at the solar, it's mostly divided into two type of markets. Commercial markets, which is for large business, and business like Walmart, Google, Apple. You have all heard this. Like they become what they call the net neutral, so which means like they put in a lot solar panels on their campus. Into their factories, so that's one. Also, the governments, state, federal, municipal governments, and all start putting solar panels, farms on their buildings or in their communities to reduce their carbon footprint. So those are the. And also, like we see more and more big developers, real estate developers, start putting solar and power storage into their new residential developments. So a lot of those new developments, once they're built, they already have solar on the roof. So we also see that. Another part is the residential market, obviously. I'm sure you have seen more and more home. You have seen the solar panel on the home now. So that is, we have seen a huge increase in that. U.S. just surpassed 1 million installations for home solar installations, home solar system this year. And so again, that is mostly driven by not by the desire to protect the environment. Is driven by desire to save money, and for the residential. So when it comes to that, the economic benefits of residential solar. Again, the first one is cost saving, and because for on average, as a home's solar system can save a homeowner anywhere between 30 to 50% of their annual electricity expense. That translates to $1,000 to $1,300 a year, and that is actually increases over the years because there's a price protection in terms of a solar energy charge versus regular utility electricity increases over the years. So the longer you have the solar, the more money you save. And that's the main reason most of the homeowners are going solar right now. And return on investment, like this is more about you actually purchase the system. And and in some states, especially like California, you can sell your excess amount of energy back to the utility company at a very good price. A lot of people actually are able to make a lot, make a lot of income from that. So the return on investment for purchasing system is about 5 to 10 years. But that's kind of going away. California just stopped the whole selling solar energy thing for consumers. And that's why we see the installation plump in California. And they say, okay, we have enough solar energy right now. And the utility company is saying, we're not making money from solar. We're losing customers because of solar. And we're not going to pay extra amount for more solar energy. And so a lot of those things are going away. So we see it's not really as relevant as before purchasing the system. The third one is property value. This is a Zillow report that shows that a house with a solar system generally sells about 4 to 6% more than the one without. So that is kind of like side benefits. So, like when we talk about solar, it's like it's all come back to are we going to use more electricity? Are we going to use more energy in the future? Is energy going to cost more in the future? And the answer is yeah, absolutely. The reasons, there's a couple reasons. One is we've been talking about AI. When we think about AI, most focus is on NVIDIA, the chips, all those like GPUs. Companies spend billions and dollars buying up chips. There's a chips war, there's a shortage, and the stock is going through the roof. NVIDIA, the stock is going through the roof. But that is the beginning of that AI war. The real competition or cost center for AI is in energy. It's all this you have all these machines, you have all these models. You have to make sure this model running all the time, day and night, and doing all these computations, and that consumes so much energy. Like just AI alone can increase the total energy consumption in the U.S. by 10% a year. That's the equivalent of a country of Belgium. So that's a big one. So we see a huge increase in that usage. And EVs, obviously EVs, each time you have EVs, if you have EV at home, which means another 1,000 kilowatt hour a year for if you charge the EV at home. And all that needs to come, like that's actual demand for the energies. And with that, with the solar, with the EVs, with the data centers, and all of a sudden we start need to upgrade our infrastructures. And like, because if you look at the stuff like solar doesn't just, it's not like we just take energy, you also send energy back to the grid. So the grid now have to handle all this inconsistent power source, energy source, wind, solar. It's not consistent, it's not like a power plant. It's like a coal or gas power plant, like a power plant. It can produce the same amount of energy 24/7. Now with renewable energy, it fluctuates. So the system, the infrastructure has to be able to handle all these changes. That means a lot of upgrades and transformers, power lines, all that. So smart grid technology again to handle all these changes. That grid needs to be upgraded, and also like energy storage, and so all that going to cost utility company to spend billions of dollars to upgrade their system. Eversource just request to spend $1.5 billion within next 3 years to upgrade their grid in order to bring the hydropower from Canada, from Niagara Falls to Massachusetts, in order to meet the mandates. So they spend $1.5 billion. Like now, it's not like Eversource say, "Oh, we're going to spend $1.5 billion on the grid. Here's the check." Who's going to pay for it? We're going to pay for it. You look at your bill. That's why your bill there's going to be increase in the electricity bill, because all these costs need to be passed along. Utility companies, they have a mandate. They need to have 10% profit each year. So any increase in the cost, they need to pass that along. So we're just going to see that it's just going to cost more to get electricity, to get powers. And so like we're talking about like where the solar saving come from, right? How to avoid this. I don't know how many of you actually look at your electricity bill, really look at it. Most time like we probably say, oh, there's a number and I pay for it. You probably have it on the auto pay, right? And sometimes you might go, holy cow, it's like $600 like this summer. And then that's it, like so I gotta pay for it, just no choice. But if you really look at it, like now actually the bill divided into two parts. One is called the supply, one is called the delivery. The supply is just like now they charge you for certain cents, like certain amount of money for the energy used. So the rate times your usage, that's your supply, that's how much energy you consume. But then there's a whole nother section called the delivery. That's the money like they charge to bring those energy to your home. And in most cases, that delivery charge is way more than your supply charge. If I buy stuff from Amazon for $50 and they charge me $60 for delivery, I'll say you keep it. I'm not gonna have it. But now with electricity, I need to have my power, right? We don't have choice. And that's where the solar actually saving come from, because you're generating energy on your roof. So that eliminating, certainly it's going to be cheaper than bring the energy all the way from Canada to here, to your home. So a lot of savings coming from that. They're also putting a lot of charges. If you look at your bill, I suggest you if you have a chance to look at your bill, really carefully look at the delivery charge. There's things called stuff like distributed solar charge. Yeah, like because they are electricity companies, they can, if you're using your own home solar energy, which means they can charge you. If they can charge you, they're losing money. So they need to get the money back. How are they gonna get the money back? from everybody else who doesn't have solars. So they put that charge, they able to recoup the loss in revenue, they put that in a charge in there. Also, all this tax credit government giving out, that is not really government writing a check. It needs to come somewhere. It also comes from your bill, your electricity bill. It's actually a form of tax, which is not aware of. And there's also, like, say stuff like EV charge. It doesn't matter if you have an EV or not, there's going to be an EV charge in your bill. But all those charges is basically, again, it's the rate times your usage. By having solars, the usage becomes zero, so anything times zero is zero. So that's why, like, that's where the saving come from. So that's again, that's the main reason why people are going in solar. I mean, I like to think people go in solar because they want to save the planet. No, they want to save money. That's why. So this question, like, Massachusetts home typically paying about 35 cents per kilowatt hour. This kind of like, put in percent, we pay about 6 cents in Shanghai. Because Chinese government actually heavily subsidizing that cost. Yeah. So there's a couple like key products in the residential solar. Like one is purchase. You buy it, like you go in like average annual between $12,000 to $15,000 to have the system installed, and then you have the full ownership. And the second one I call the power purchase agreement. So you don't actually own the system, you just buy the power generated. This is actually the most popular form of products now because there's no upfront cost. You just buy the energy at a lower cost. There's another one called lease. So those are the main ones. Just quick thing, like on the value chains, like a couple leading brands. The first one is Tesla. Tesla is a hardware. Tesla used to through Solar City. They used to do a lot of residential solar panels, but now it's more about they're really focused on the Powerwall, which is a big battery, the power storage units. That's the main product. Hanwha and LG, that's also hardware. There's a company that makes the solar panels and the inverters. Those are the only two non-Chinese companies in the top 10, the world top 10 solar panel manufacturers. Company like Sonova is more like a financing company. They're the company that finance the whole power purchase agreements. They will buy the panel, they own the panels. So they will provide that financing. Company like Trinity Solar, which is the company I'm working for, that does all the maintenance, all the installations, all the sales, and all the services. So those are the most basic, the main companies along the value chains. Yeah, I think that will be my presentation.